How do you make your business skyrocket? Welcome to Business Without Barriers, the show helping you turn barriers into breakthroughs and thrive in a volatile world, and the show bringing humanity back to business. Subscribe at bwbtv.net to join me on this exciting journey of discovery with progressive entrepreneurs willing to open their vaults and share their success treasures with us. I'm your host, Carmen Wild, and my guest today is Mike Ciorrocco, also known as C-Roc. I love that. Is the CEO of People Building and the powerhouse behind the What Are You Made Of movement. He's a performance coach, author, dynamic public speaker, visionary, and thought leader. And he's been featured by Yahoo Finance as one of the top business leaders to follow. He's on a mission to build people. And he's driven to inspire others, and he measures his success on how he is able to help others achieve greatness. Mike had a fire lit in him at an early age. That fire ignited him with a fierce desire to compel people to see the greatness inside themselves, using past life events to fuel their fire. Mike, a huge rocket fuel welcome to you. Awesome to have you on the show.
Thank you very much, Carmen. I start every interview, by the way, with gratitude because I'm always honored, humbled, and just purely grateful that people give me the opportunity to share my story. And so thank you.
And thank you. Gratitude to you too for being here and making the time. Thank you. Let's kick off with what may be an unusual or fun thing about you that people may not know of.
Well, I pretty much share everything openly, but, I guess, man, what would be fun? I like to play golf, but I don't play much anymore because I'm so focused on my mission right now, but I'm a pretty good golfer, and I've won a lot of money playing golf, a lot of money. So that's kind of a fun fact.
That's a fun fact, yes. Which means you must be pretty good at it, which is great. And it's a fantastic networking sport. So all around fun. So
yeah, it is. I met some great people, some strangers that became great friends from being out on the golf course. You're stuck with people for 3 to 4 hours once you commit to playing. So it's a good time.
Wonderful. Awesome. Let us into your world. Take us into a deeply meaningful memory and relive it for us.
I got to share this story here. I mean, I came from a broken home. I don't remember my parents ever together. And growing up, I was the oldest of all the kids. I lived with my mom and did the every other weekend thing to my dad's house. That's all I knew. I thought that was ordinary. And I just have a memory of, as a kid, being really close to my grandparents. And I think a lot of kids are, but for me, with being, coming from a broken home, I felt like my grandparents both stayed together. They were long-time marriages until they passed away. And I just felt some kind of stability there. And I just remember as a kid, especially being the first grandchild on both sides, really being loved and it was, I think the first grandchild is such a novelty in a family. And I was always made to feel really loved despite the circumstances of coming from a broken home and some of the conflicts that followed that with, my dad and myself, so which I can get into later.
Fantastic. So grandparents, they are just special breed of person to all of us. I suppose they drop all the other stuff that they couldn't do with their kids, and they get gushy and mushy and all sorts of amazing things with us. Thank you for that. That's so stability and love was the book.
I don't think that I felt spoiled ever. I think that my grandparents did a great job of not doing what most grandparents do and spoiling, but really laid the groundwork for discipline and structure and understand right from wrong. And I think they did a good job with that, despite the way grandparents usually are.
So Mike, if you were to, you've had a lot of successes. You've even made some great money doing something fun like golf. And you've got accolades, you're a big personality. If you were to take all of that away, take it all over, just like it's gone. What are you made of?
Rocket fuel. Rocket fuel is what I'm made of. I'm a kind of person that's stubborn. I wear it with a badge of honor because stubborn is not the wrong thing when it's on the right thing. And I'm big on definitions. And if you look up the word stubborn, it talks about perversely unyielding. Those two words, I actually made a shirt about, like, I like t-shirts. I like to express myself via the t-shirts I wear. And perversely unyielding is something that gets me fired up about being intentional with what you want, clear on what you want, and then being stubborn or perversely unyielding going towards it. So I think that I'm made of rocket fuel and stubbornness.
Tell us how that has set you up in ways that has given you an edge.
Well, because it's it's pretty open that I don't quit and I keep coming, and other people will stop before I stop. So I think that right away there, I just know that I can outlast most people with what I'm going after, and I'll still be around. And it's not necessarily about competition and beating other people. To me, it's more about leadership and influence. And so people can count on me. And, when they're going through tough times or what have you, they can always look to me to pick them up and carry them if I have to, or whatever the case is, to show them what they're capable of. And I think that's what it's more about, not necessarily about competition, more about helping build people.
So something must have either happened, you have already touched on it, perhaps it was in your early life or maybe later, but what was the thing that you believe attributed to who you are today? What was the thing that attributed most to who you are today?
So, growing up in a broken home, I did the every other weekend thing, and I was at my dad's. Decided to move in with him from 8 to 11. He had gotten remarried, and I just wanted to try something new, and he kind of talked me into moving in with him. And I'm not sure what the whole story is. I don't know if it had to do. I just remember child support and custody conflicts going on above me, and I realized that maybe I should try something different. So I moved in with him for 3 years, and it ended up being a very abusive situation, not physically necessarily, but more mentally, and threats and things that shouldn't have been said to an 11-year-old kid about himself or his mother. And, after 3 years of that, and my dad not really felt like not doing anything about it or coming to my rescue, I had enough. So I had my mom file court papers, and this was all done on, behind the doors. And my dad didn't know about it until he got served papers. And I came home from school one day. And by the way, before my mom filed court papers, she said, you shouldn't be going through something like this. This is not normal. It's not okay. Because as a kid, I didn't want to share that information. And I think a lot of people that go through abuse don't share the information because they're scared of the ramifications of sharing that with people, whether people will believe them, whether maybe it's not as bad as you are perceiving it to be. You'll get in trouble maybe with the abuser. There's all kinds of things that go through your head. You're obviously not always thinking clearly when you're going through that. But at 11 years old, I felt like I was pretty mature enough to understand that this was not the right thing. So my mom told me, if I file these papers, you need to stick to your guns. Like, you can't bounce back and forth, flip flop. Like, people are going to try to talk you out of things when you believe in something, whether it's to match their agenda or because they want to justify their position and the fact that they quit on their dreams or whatever the case is. People will talk you out of things you believe in if you let them. So be stubborn, right? She said, stick to your guns. So I took that as be stubborn. And I think that's where that was programmed into me, to be perversely unyielding. She also told me when I was a young kid, from 3 to 5 years old, she told me a lot of times that I'm going to be an influence. I'm going to be an inspiration. I'm a leader. Before I even knew what any of that meant, Carmen, I was being programmed to help people, guide people, lead people. So everything that I did from that point would go towards that programming. So when my dad got served court papers one day, I came home from school and he told me to go to my room. And my dad was my hero. He had a masonry business. He laid brick and block and poured concrete, had real thick forearms and rough hands, signs of a hardworking man. And I always looked up to him for that. He was my hero as a kid. I remember like being so excited to go to his house every other weekend. And he always carried this wad of $100 bills in his pocket with a rubber band around it. I thought that was so cool, man. And he used to show me what that got us, and he'd flash it. But when he got these papers, he might have, and I don't know for sure, and I'm not telling you this story to bash my father, even though I don't get to see him now, but he may have felt let down when he got served and shocked. Although I don't know how, because he knew what was going on in the household. But he said, this says you want to move in with your mom. Now, you know, your mom doesn't have it that well. Her new husband and her, they don't have any money. You have everything you need here. Why would you want to leave here? And I didn't get into the discussion with him because I think he really knew what the deal was, but I didn't think I was going to get anywhere because I didn't want him talking me out of the decision. I wanted to stick to my guns. So I said, I'm not really going to discuss this. I've made my mind up and I do want to go there. He said, okay, if that's the case. And he takes that wad of $100 bills out of his pocket, peels one of them off, crumples it up and throws it at me and says, you're going to need this then when you're living on the streets with your mother one day. And, you know, when I heard that, of course, I couldn't believe it. But the other thing I thought to myself was, wait a minute. First of all, I'm in control of my life. I'm a leader. I'm stubborn. I'm going to make it my way. You're not going to tell me how I'm going to live my life. I'm not going to need that money. The other thing I thought to myself was, since I thought this was a whole ordinary situation, and I thought families that stayed together was just a fantasy that I watched on TV, that since this is ordinary, there's got to be other people that are going through the same thing. And I can be a leader to them. I can help them possibly by showing them what you can accomplish coming out of a scenario like this. So I always thought after that moment that everything I do, I'm going to focus on being the best. I'm going to go hard at it. I'm not going to give up. I always felt like my dad was watching and I didn't want to let him be right.
Yeah.
So that's where a lot of that came from. And for 30 some years, I've been driving off of that. And I couldn't figure out why my graphs kept going up. I think a graph, like a successful person in general with their life, business, finances, your graph should always be gradually going up. And if it should never be flat because bad things happen in life and the graph will eventually fall. It should always have an upward trajectory. But when I was like 2-3 years ago, I really started analyzing, why is this happening? What am I doing? How come despite all the things I go through that happen to me, I still have an upward graph. So I said, you know, I look back and I found out for 30 some years I've been driving off this thing and I call it the rocket fuel concept. Basically, I turn everything that comes my way that would stop normal people, slow people down, ruin their day, their week, their life. I turn it into rocket fuel. Like I store it in my tank instead of my trunk where it weighs you down. And I convert to fuel to advance well beyond where my setback started. And so once I became aware of this, my trajectory started going straight up instead of gradually going up. And I've realized that I got to share this with people. It's a duty now. It's not good enough just to know this and take it on in your life, but now it's an obligation to me to share it with other people.
There's a fundamental truth underlying everything here that, and I mean, you think deeply about things. So what has this experience with your dad left for you as a fundamental, like it may be a principle, it's like the fundamental truth for you that just has shaped everything? I hear what you're saying about the perversely unyielding and the stubborn. What's that truth for you? The principle level that has just carried through.
It really is that when I want something, I get it. And it's not a spoiled thing like handed to me. It's when I want something and I set my sights on something, I move hell and high water to get what I need, whether it's finding people to help me get to what I need, help find knowledge somewhere that I can absorb myself, get someone else that's good at something that I might not be as good at. Whatever it needs to be done, I figure out ways to get it done. And I'm willing to sacrifice what needs to be sacrificed to get it. And I know that there's nothing that I can't achieve mentally and financially and spiritually. I just feel like unstoppable. So I think that's the principle, is that you can become unstoppable if you remove all obstacles and convert them into fuel.
Yes. And what I'm hearing, Mike, underneath that is absolute sheer belief, like almost unyielding belief. Which,
yeah, 100%. Here's the thing. I'm human. I go through same emotions as other people.
Yeah.
You know, I just got back from poor me. I just got back from Aruba. I was there for 4 days, right? Great trip. But I'm going through some things in my company right now, the mortgage side of things, where we have home loans that we do, where we're kind of bringing new people in, and we're having some people that have been with us for a long time leave, and for different various reasons that happens in businesses as you're going on a journey. And I'm like I said, I'm a human, so I'm going through the things that I preach all the time, and I have to remind myself, this is a setback. Acknowledge it, accept it, take action on it. I don't want to be stuck in this situation where, first of all, I feel bad and I feel woe is me and I'm victim. Take it personally and then be stuck in a situation where I don't want to be stuck in. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm denying what's going on. All that stuff does is delay the inevitable. So what I want to do is immediately take action to figure out where's the opportunity and what's happening here, and how can I convert this into fuel to advance me and my team. So I say this a lot and I preach it a lot, but I have to practice it myself, and it's not easy. Like I was in Aruba on a vacation, like I said, and the whole time there, I didn't feel like I could relax. I felt like I needed to focus on conversion, you know, and it is what it is. I mean, I'm not complaining about it, but I just want everybody to know that when I talk about these concepts, I live it. Like I actually live it, and I feel all the emotions that go along with it. But I always stay that stubborn way, and that takes me further. It's like it's kind of like a propellant, you know. So
I'd love to stick with this a little bit, because you've obviously trained your brain to do certain things. So when you're in these moments where you're feeling this, and there's something, you should be relaxing, but there's something there. Take us a little bit more into how I'm curious into how you turn the challenge into rocket fuel. Take us a little bit more into what are the questions you go through? Are there little rituals? Do you go be by yourself? What is it that you do, you, Mike?
Well, I mainly, first of all, this is a proactive concept. So you have to prepare to be able to do this. One, I take care of my body. I eat right. I hydrate right. I work out like an animal. Like when I go to the gym, I don't just go to the gym. I go to destroy everything that's in my way. I have this mentality because I want to make sure that I'm stretching myself, and physically, figuratively, and literally. So proactively preparing myself. Then when the things happen and I acknowledge it, I'm always asking questions. I stop focusing on the problem and I start to look towards the solution. And I know every single problem has a solution. There's people need to understand that. Like when something happens, just because you don't see the answer right away, there's a solution to it. You may not have it. Somebody else might have it. You got to find the person that has it. But that's what I do. I find out, well, okay, well, here's the problem. What's the solution? And then I start really asking questions. Myself and other people, where's the solution to this? Where's the solution to this? And we just go after it. Too many times people wait a month, a year, 5 years down the road. They look back at something bad that happened and they're like, oh, I see that's why that happened. I get it now, because they didn't look until then. I want to look as soon as while it's happening, to find the opportunity, so that I don't want to just take the opportunity and use it as it comes subconsciously. I want to see if I can, like add power to that opportunity. If I'm aware of it sooner, maybe I can stretch it farther, you know? So these are the kind of things that go through my head. And I also understand that people make decisions sometimes, you know, like a setback could be somebody letting you down or giving up on you, or which I've been through before. So I always tend to ask myself, what are you made of? Like your dad gave up on you. Like if somebody else gives up on you in your life, look what you've used that experience for to advance. Like, you need that. Like you need people to do those kind of things. That's your fuel. It's like you're driving down the road and your light comes on, your fuel light comes on, and you're like, okay, where's the next gas station? Where's the next setback? Who's the next person that's going to let me down? I want it to happen because I need that fuel to advance to where I'm going.
So you just really reframed the whole notion of setbacks and challenges, because of this amazing proactive process that you've created for yourself. And it's a challenge constantly. It sounds like that challenge stays within you. Let me show you. It's cool. I'll turn it into rocket fuel, and it's, which is why you constantly seen this upward trend in your life, because you're not afraid of it, and you've got that sheer belief, which is the grounding force within you. And
well, let me clarify something. I'm not
yes,
saying that I'm not afraid. I get scared sometimes too.
yes,
You know,
yes.
but that's when I know that when I'm afraid of something, if I add time to it before I take action, it fuels that fear. So I want to smother it out. So I act fast, even if
Okay,
it's
yes.
this is a even if I'm acting fast and I'm not ready to act or I don't have all the information, sometimes I still act fast because I'd rather that happen than my fear being fueled. And so I just know it's the right thing for me. I'm not telling everybody to do this, but I had somebody today, I was talking to one of the managers at the company where I work, and she says, I'm going to tell you something. And I know you jump on things and take action right away. I don't want you to do this right now. So let me tell you this, but don't take action right away. Because she knows how I am. Like, I'll jump to it, even if it's not ready to be jumped to, because I know that that's the best way to do it. The other thing is, when things are going good and there's no challenges and it doesn't seem like there's any setbacks, I create problems. So because what I don't want is complacency and being comfortable. That's my kryptonite. So when we're having a nice, smooth graph going up and everything just seems great and there's no issues, I start to worry. And then I start creating problems, like raising my targets, raising our goals, challenging my team, challenging myself, because you need problems to stay interested and engaged in life. And so that's the things that I always go through. And I've learned these things from my mentors as well. Just I've done it in my life, but then I've validated it through my mentors that are really successful.
Another great reframe. I create problems. And also every solution you're creating brings with it another set of problems. So the more you create solutions, the more problems you have to solve, and the more successful you become, the greater the problem you encounter, right, because your responsibility. So I don't think you're ever going to have a problem with not being able to experience too many problems, Mike. So how about we make you the president and you solve the world's problems for us right now and put some rocket fuel out there for us?
Yeah, I have a problem with that too. I think because I'm a big person on 100% responsibility, taking responsibility for things, and that's the issue that we have in the world, and a lot of blaming going on, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know if that I would be the best at that.
Yeah, no, I think we stick to business. We can make a real difference. Yeah. What does, you speak about greatness and you want to help people step into that more. What does that look like for you? When you say greatness, what is it that you...
Well, I think that, if people can really stop putting limits on themselves and really put a picture together of their ideal life, of what they would want out of life. Like, life is so short on this planet. And so why not go after what you want? Stop thinking that it's not possible. Stop thinking that there's too many obstacles. Like, just figure out what you want, what kind of life you want to live, where you want to live it with, who do you want to do it with, where you want to be, write it down, and then start living towards it. So greatness is finding that picture out and then making progress towards that. I think that's how you achieve greatness. And those that don't have a clear picture, that are just roaming through life and roaming through their business and kind of just in reaction mode, that's not greatness.
So it would, we're both in this personal and business transformation arena, playground. And it would seem obvious that most people would want to work on that and achieve it. Yet, we've seen so many people fall into that box, your kryptonite, the complacency.
Yeah.
What are you seeing that keeps people trapped? What traps them in this box of complacency?
Well, I'm going to give you a long answer here. I'm going to try to make it as short as possible. First of all, people are afraid of success because it's lonely when you go for success and you try to improve yourself. It's lonely. People discourage you. People will make remarks. And when you do have success, you create a new floor for yourself and you break through a ceiling. And in order to stay there and continue to do that, you need to work harder and you need to be more intentional, and your life changes. It's different. And people are scared of that. And they'd rather be around more people that are all living average lives because it feels like it's more secure around a herd of people, a herd mentality, I guess. The other thing I like to talk about, though, is people will not get help or ask for help or give out help if they don't believe help is possible. And or if they have a bad definition of help in their mind. If they think help makes you weak to ask for help, or it devalues you to ask for help, everything stops right there. And then they stay in that mode, they stay in that position. And so if you can get people to really understand that help is a good thing, providing help to people and receiving help and understanding that you're not going to be great and achieve anything great without people's help. Once you do that, then you can advance further with people. But if they don't have that, then you're caught dead in the water. And I think the best thing to do is just have a conversation about help and find out what help means to people and let them answer and, really get talking about their thoughts on that. And then from there, really people are so scared of this. They're scared of control as well. They're scared to be controlled or control themselves. They have a negative connotation about control, and I think it's a bad thing. So if they're not willing to take control of their diet or finances or their exercise activity or control their kids, here's a prime example. Parenting children is very difficult. Your kids will come at you 50 times with the same question until you say yes. They're relentless. They're perversely unyielding. And parenting, you need to understand that control isn't a good thing, and it's an important thing with your children. And so a lot of children are growing up with issues because their parents don't control them because they think control is a bad thing. But control is always a good thing when it's on the right thing. And so you need to know that help's available. You need to know control is a good thing. And then you need to be able to communicate. And the biggest issues arise with people is when they can't communicate their thoughts, can't communicate what they need help with, can't communicate their goals and visions with themselves or others. And so that's the biggest thing I've seen is when people can't hit goals and can't reach greatness is because they don't know how to do those things.
So it's awareness. It's actually more than anything else, helping people see. So through organizations like yours, organizations like mine, these forums where we speak with each other like this, is that there is help, that you can convert those challenges into rocket fuel, that it is okay to be a success, and actually along the way you meet some pretty cool people that can support you. Or is there more? Is there more than just that awareness? Because we got to fuel the belief too. And I think that's
Well, I think that as you hit certain levels of success, if you're smart, you still try to surround yourself with people that are more successful than you, more wise than you, further along in their game than you. And when you do that, it gets really uncomfortable. Here's a prime example: Clubhouse. Have you heard of the new app Clubhouse?
Yes,
right?
Yes.
When I go into Clubhouse and I go into these rooms, I'm going into the rooms where I'm not the smartest person, the most successful person, the richest person. I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. It's boring to me. On the other hand, when I go into these other rooms with people that are further along in their journey than I am and think bigger than I do, even though I think big, I get really uncomfortable. And I feel like I'm not as far along as I thought I was. And which is a good thing. Even though it doesn't feel good, it's a good thing to do that because you realize, wait a minute, I can't sit back and be complacent and comfortable. I got work to do. And it's good. I want to listen to these people in these rooms to hear what they know so that I can take it and implement it in my life. And so many people will shy away from that. They won't speak on those stages. They won't get up there because they're afraid that they would look bad or their ceiling's so much lower. So they stay in their little box. And they don't get out there to be heard and share some information with other people. So, I just noticed that, like, I have this feeling on Clubhouse sometimes where people know who I am. So they'll call me up on stage right away. And depending on the topic, I don't really have anything to say. So sometimes I think to myself, like, if they call on me, like I'll be able to answer a question on certain topics, but others I'm not so versed in. So then you get this feeling inside. Now, as far as of my journey I've gotten, I still get this feeling. And so I want people to understand that are listening. Everybody goes through this feeling of inadequacy, not as far along as you should be, comparing yourself to others, and it's not always the best thing. But one thing I wanted to bring up with this is to understand that you're on your own journey. You're on your own journey, and you can help those that you can help. And then the people that are more advanced than you and further along in their journey, those are the people that can help you. So the help doesn't have to come right direct back from the person that you help. It'll come back in a different form from someone else that has the resources to help you. Don't stop giving to someone because they don't have the resources to help you back, because that help comes in a cycle from another source. So these are some thoughts that have gone through my head with regards to something, more recent. And I just want to encourage people to get out there and share information and help people.
You've touched on something really important and significant in terms of this discomfort. Because if we really bring it down to everything, that's the source of how we grow. So it's only when we're actually uncomfortable that we'll actually, because we're lazy by nature, actually, we'd rather take the shortcut. But when we're deeply uncomfortable and it's really gnawing at us, that's actually what's going to propel us to do something. So I think the message that is so important that I want maybe crystallize there. And thank you for bringing that message, that it's really okay to feel uncomfortable. Actually, learn to see the value in being really uncomfortable, because that's the point that's going to push you to get over that, push the envelope, or maybe do the things that you might not have done before. And that confusion or uncertainty or discomfort, it's always going to precede clarity, and it's just over on the other side. And I mean, you utilizing this so beautifully to grow and to push yourself and to create the problem so that you do feel uncomfortable, and to put yourself into a clubhouse where you may be not well versed on all those things. But the message there, thank you, was really be okay with the discomfort, because that's the heart of the growth is going to push you. Yeah.
I think that too in Clubhouse, like I think that it gets lost in Clubhouse too, with they're so worried about strategy and techniques and things that they forget about the fundamentals and the foundation you need to have of being stubborn, relentless, understanding you have a clear picture of where you're going. And so many times I see these Clubhouse rooms where they're all talking about these strategies and things, but the people don't have the foundation of being perversely unyielding. So I think that needs to be talked about more.
Come back to it. It always comes back to those key fundamentals. Let's go into the business landscape. You want to help entrepreneurs really help, skyrocket their business. So we're in a crazy tough business landscape at the moment. I think for most of us who've been in business for many, many, many years, we've never seen anything the likes of last year and how that stretched so many. What do you think entrepreneurs right now need to do very differently to move forward?
Well, here's the thing. So last year is different than any other year. We've seen, like you said, things that we've never seen before, but for me, it was the best year I've ever had in my life. So I think that, I think that any year you could point to any year and people are going to have issues.
Yes,
so it's like, to me, I don't like to look at this year as an anomaly. Things like that happened were different. They were labeled different. A pandemic happened. But for some people that I hang around with, most of the people that I hang around with had their best year ever. So I guess maybe I'm blinded to some of the difficulties. I know restaurant businesses had issues. But, I was around 2008 when the mortgage crisis happened. And we struggled. But what I did was, again, I looked around and was very observant and journaled everything that was going on, whether it's politicians, the media, people in my industry, how the government handled licensing in the mortgage industry. I looked at all these things and journaled so that when it happened again, I knew how to react. So to me, this year, for those that didn't have the best year of their life, if they're not looking at it as the best learning year of their life, they're missing the boat. because this year was an opportunity. Again, I look at setbacks as opportunities. Remember, this year was an opportunity for you to look forward for the future, for something to happen, and be able to take lessons from this year and be able to not when this happens again, not get held back by it, but blast off through it. So for me this year, when this happened in the pandemic, as soon as it started to go on, I told my team, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if this is real. Let's just assume it's the worst thing ever. And we're going to need to raise our game. Everything that we do, actions, thoughts, word, everything needs to go towards a bigger goal. And we need to go harder. And if I'm wrong about this and it's not as bad as I'm making it out to be, we're going to be well off. But if it is as bad, we're going to make it through it. And we're going to come out the other side like gangbusters. So we ended up having 3 record-breaking months right after that through COVID. And it's because of a mindset and attitude of, hey, we can't sit here and just be okay and watch and see what happens. We need to take action now. Some people, I thought, sat back and waited to watch what happened. Those restaurants that made it are the ones that quickly changed direction into something else that was going to solve a problem. And they were able to make money, not just maybe get through it, but some of them were able to thrive and develop another revenue stream for themselves when COVID goes away. So it's, to me, it's all how you look at things. I know things don't always happen the way you want it to happen. I know some places were on more lockdown than others. And it's just a matter of making a decision that you're not going to be a statistic in it and figuring something out quicker than everybody else does. So I think some people play the victim role when they sit back and they don't take action. They don't make any decisions and they're kind of wait what happened. Remember I talked about acknowledging, accepting, and taking action?
Yes.
Those that don't do those things quickly are the ones that had the bad year last year.
So what I take out of that was really great. The people that will really experience true setbacks in a year like 2020 is the people who decided to get out of the game, whereas you raised the game. And when you raise the game, you're going to look at it totally differently.
Correct. But if you get out of the game, you better be on to another game. It's okay to get out of a game. It's okay to get out of a game. You just don't sit on the sidelines. You got to get your butt into some other, maybe it's a bigger game. Maybe you're not playing big enough game. You know, if you're in the restaurant business and you struggled because you just have one little location and you were just getting by and making, I don't know how much money, whatever. And you weren't thinking prior to COVID, I need to expand other locations. I need to grow this location. Always having a growth mindset. You got what you had coming to you because you didn't think the right way. Remember I talked about a graph. If you were in a location in a restaurant business and you were just going steadily along like this, flat, not growing, and something bad happens, it pulls you down. You have to have a graph that's going up all the time because if COVID happens, your graph's already going up. You have time for yourself to make a move and decide things. And so I'm always looking to grow. I'm never satisfied because of that reason. And this is a prime example of what happened last year is that if I wasn't focused on growth, we would have suffered as well.
What are those key fundamentals that you have found that keeps you on this growth curve? So we've spoken a lot about really the fundamentals. What are some of the key things? So that we've got an entrepreneurial revolution of note at the moment. So for those people maybe coming new into business, what would you advise them to really get right out the gates?
A clear picture of their perfect world of what they want to be doing, how they want to be doing it, who they want to be doing it with. Think big, no limitations. Be a kid and imagine, dream. Don't put any limitations on yourself. And think as big as you can imagine. And then go after that. And if you don't hit it, guess what? You're still going to be way past where you would have been if you didn't do that. So to me, I decide, I get a clear picture. I decide that's what I want. I commit to it. And then I just take massive, big actions consistently towards it. And I'm not so worried about that end goal coming to me right away. I have patience for that, but I have urgency with consistent, massive action towards it. And the other thing I'll add to that is everything that you do, whether you're thinking, talking, taking action, anything that you do has to be going towards that picture. And it makes things simple for people. They can say, okay, should I be doing that right now? Does that go towards that picture or away from it? There's no in between. And you make the decisions to go towards that all the time. Relationships. If you want a great relationship with your wife, husband, spouse, whatever it is, every decision you make should be going towards developing that relationship to where you want it to be. Because if you're not, like guys, if you're checking out other women, if you're not focused on, spending time with your wife and you're going out doing other things that you shouldn't be doing, are you building your relationship or tearing it down? There's the simple decision you're making. And so most relationships, for example, don't work because people aren't focused on the right decisions that go towards that ideal relationship, or they don't even have that picture. They're just moseying their way through it in reactionary mode. And it's a very simple fix to things. People can overcomplicate things.
Yeah, totally. You regarded as an influencer in business. We're in this digital space at the moment. If you're not connecting, really connecting with people and then influencing as well, gaining that trust, you're also going to land in deep water. So give us a little bit about what are the keys to earning respect as an influencer? What do you think needs to be placed? Or how do you move into that space where you actually regard it as an influencer?
So I'm very in touch with what I know and what I don't know. Mm-hmm. And what I know, I put out there. So I put out via content constantly for free all over the place. What I do know, what I don't know, I focus on getting to know. I focus on building my knowledge based on reading, mentorship, watching videos of mentors. I am committed to making myself the best possible leader I can possibly be for people. And so in order to do that, I need to be committed to growing. Any insecurities are just stem from a lack of knowledge of something. And I realize that. So when I find myself being insecure in certain areas, I find out what knowledge do I need to know? Where am I missing? And I go find it. And otherwise it's not like, if it's not bothering me and it's not really insecurity, then I don't need to go focus on that. I focus on what I feel I need to secure myself with. And then from there, I share that knowledge, because it's not good enough to just know something. You got to disseminate it. So I really take pride in that. I take it as a serious obligation to get information that I learned, that I implement in my life that works, out to other people. And the other thing is, every morning I wake up, I'm trying to figure out, how can I get known better? How can I get more people to know who I am and hear my message and hear my words? I'm absolutely obsessed with that. And it's not about an ego thing, about a celebrity thing. It is about a celebrity thing. It's about being a celebrity in the space so that more people have access to hearing your words. And that's what I'm absolutely obsessed about. And I take it very seriously that the information that I put out is going to be something that can help people advance.
So you're about to put something out there, a book, Rocket Fuel. Give us a taste of the key message you wanted to get through from that book, or through that book.
Well, it all comes down that the subtitle is "Convert Setbacks, Become Unstoppable." Mm-hmm. That's the message. I want people to finish this book and say, wait a minute, all the stuff that I've been through is purposefully placed in my way to give me fuel or lessons or training sessions for my future. And then knowing that now going forward, once I know what I want, anything that comes my way, I just convert it to fuel and you become unstoppable. So when they're done reading this book, that's what I want. I want them to know me better, know where I come from, understand, trust, and respect, what my mission is. And then from there, understand that they can have their own mission and they can be unstoppable. Like, I want people to feel like until you're plucked from this planet and taken off this planet, you can achieve whatever you want.
Read the book. When does it come out? In a few weeks.
It's coming out in a few weeks. Depending, I don't know when this airs, but February 7th to 14th, that window. And you can actually get a copy reserved right now at Mike C-Roc with no K, Mike CROC.com/book.
Perfect. We're on to it. Get some rocket fuel, become unstoppable. So Mike, final question for you. If you could share a message that's close to your heart, a deeply meaningful message, and a message that you'd really want to share with the world, what would you share?
I think the biggest travesty in the world is that there's help for people and they don't take it. And also when people want a certain life or they want to accomplish something and they share that with people that mean something to them, that they care about, and those people shoot it down or discourage them. Like that's the worst, because that limits people, puts a lid on them and cages them up. And then they end up feeling like they're a caged animal. And if you watch some of the commercials with animals that they play this sad music and they're trying to get you to spend some money, to donate money to help these animals, and you see the faces of these animals and they look like their soul's been taken from them and they have no energy and no spirit left in them. That's what people end up doing when they listen to other people that discourage them, and they're looking for reinforcement and encouragement from other people. They need to find that from inside. They need to find that encouragement, that energy from inside, and take anything that goes against that and just convert it into fuel for themselves. Because there's no way that you should live on this planet, as short as life is, not doing what you want to do. That's, to me, is being a prisoner. And I don't want anybody to be a prisoner. Break free of the chains, open up the cage, do what you want to do despite anybody else's thoughts, and then take people with you.
Thank you, Mike, for being the unstoppable you, the rocket fuel you, the unrelentless, perversely unyielding. I love it. Love it. Thank you for being that perversely unyielding you and bringing your rocket fuel. And we can't wait to read that book. I'm sure it's going to be a good one of those unstoppable reads. And can't wait to see what you've got up your sleeve in the years ahead. I know it's going to be some pretty awesome, amazing rocket fuel type stuff. So thank you, Mike, for being on the show. And to all of you watching, listening, you heard it from the man, from what are you made of? What are you made of? It would be a tragedy to leave this life and not find what it is that you're made of. Dig deep, be unyielding. You're unstoppable. You're great. Go get it. Do what it is that you need to do to get those amazing, to get an amazing life, because it's yours if you actually just take big action, take bold action, believe in yourself. Key. And like Mike showed tonight, there's help. There's amazing, beautiful resources out there to help you. So get comfortable with feeling uncomfortable, be unstoppable, and go for it. Until next time, lots of love.